Moin and welcome to the Link's Halloween special. If you saw some of my other videos, you might know that I absolutely love cute things, but for this special event, we're gonna kill the cuteness. My victim will be this Frankenstein doll because her skin tone will fit perfectly for what I have in mind, but just see yourself. After preparing the doll for customization by getting rid of the factory paint and hair, I could start the modifications. First, I had to remove the lips and nose. I used my very sharp X-Acto knife and cut very carefully piece by piece. Then I opened the head to give her a wide open scary mouth. As a final touch, I smoothed everything out with my electric nail file. I use this pretty often, so maybe I should think of buying myself a professional drummer. I then took a needle and punched some holes around the mouth to insert wire. To fix the wire inside the head, I decided to open the scalp and put some clay inside to hold all the wire ends in place. Then I could start modeling her face, yeah! I will not show you the whole process here because it all broke. Sad as it was, I realized that there was no way to repair this, so I just removed everything and ordered some epoxy scalp, because I saw other doll artists use it successfully. While I was waiting for the package to arrive, I sanded the body down to remove all the prints and shiny surface. As you know, I really like to also customize the body, and this time I also wanted to make 2 little modifications on it. So after sanding, I had to wait for the epoxy. After a few days, it finally arrived! I was so happy! I immediately started with the head by inserting the wires on the mouth again. Oh, by the way, the wire that I'm using here is just an ordinary paperclip I bent in place. And then she finally received her new face. First, I was a little insecure of how to handle it, but I got used to it really quick. Now I can say that this stuff is the best. I love it, and I can't wait to use it on my future dolls too. But back to the doll. Basically, I just placed chunks of epoxy around her mouth and made some furrows inside, paying attention to not cover the wires. I wanted her lips to look all dried out, cracked and full of scars. For her eyes, I made the same thing, just putting some epoxy at this region and make it look rotten. I discovered that a scrunched aluminium foil really does a good job when dabbed on the material. Like I said, I also wanted to change the body a bit. Nothing special, but it needed some wounds. First, I thought that I can sculpt something with my clay tools, but then I got back to the aluminium foil. Epoxy scalp needs a long time to fully harden, so while I was waiting, I made her a beautiful dress. Starting with the skirt, I wanted to sew her one out of this cotton fabric, and then glue some of this yarn all over it. I wanted to look it like something she made out of animal fur, very dirty and stiff. I used some PVA glue to attach the strands to the fabric. Looks pretty good. Nice, stiff and dirty. I also sewed her a little shirt with the same yarn on the shoulders. The grey fabric I attached to the skirt too, but it still looked too clean, so let's destroy all our hard work. I took one of my scissors and raked it randomly all over the place. That was fun. For the final touch, I also added some red with watered down acrylic paints later on. Now that we have a decent outfit, the face needs some attention again. I first painted all the epoxy in the skin color. I have to admit that I had a little trouble finding the right color, but for this doll it wasn't that necessary, as you will see in a few moments. Because now we start the face up! Normally, I really like to have control over my art and want everything really precise and controlled, but this doll had to be dirty and chaotic. So goodbye precision and welcome chaos! Basically, I just splashed colors all over her face. First, some sickish greens and browns, and then the pink. I used my Mungyo soft pastels, and again, I have to say that I'm really impressed by them. I just sprayed the face once with Mr. Super Clear before I started, and once at the end to seal everything. Pretty good. To not only use pastels, I grabbed my blue watercolor pencil and drew some veins around the eye section. Looks pretty scary already, don't you think? But the purple I used at the end really brings it together, I think. Next, the body. I painted the wounds with acrylic paint like the head and added some plain red to it. Like the head, I blushed the dirty green-brown first everywhere. After that, I started at the bottom with the feet. She's supposed to walk barefoot through the forest, so they had to be really dirty and bloody. When I was satisfied with the feet, I moved on to the wound and tried to connect it a little more to the body by blushing some reds around. Not to forget the veins and dirt. Like this, I blushed the whole body till it really looked like out of the woods. For her hair, I used some acrylic yarn that I rerouted off camera. I wanted her to look really sickish, so I did the reroute very loose and with many spots. I left a big bald spot on her side to add another wound. So I took my lovely epoxy scalp again and did the same as on her body. I also painted it like the ones on her body. Later, I realized that the yarn I used looked nearly exactly like her original hair. So yeah, that was a little unnecessary work, but okay. Now she's nearly finished, but I had to do something with her eyes. Originally, I thought of gluing buttons on her face, but my brother suggested me to add a bandage instead. Really cool idea. So I took one old one and dyed it a bit in brown acrylic paint water. So she's done, right? Wrong. She needed a little accessory that I made out of polymer clay. Can you guess? Yeah, it's the heart. For my first try, it came out pretty good, I think. After I baked it, I painted it with red acrylic paint and sealed it with some glossy varnish. And now we have everything together. Her outfit, the heart chain, the body, and the hat. Time to dress her up. And there she is, my Halloween doll May. Even though I love making cute dolls, it was so much fun to try something completely different. But this would not be a Dollings video without a story, so be prepared! The story begins with a young man whose girlfriend left him after she found out that he secretly kills little animals for fun. A psychopath, she called him, as if. Full of rage, he wandered through the forest to calm himself down a little bit. Cursing and lashing about, he stumped through the copse until he found an abandoned little wooden cabin. Curiously, he went inside to find a little room with stuff all over the place. Bottles, knives, candles, bones, and much more. In all this chaos, he found an old book in a strange language about voodoo magic. The young man saw his opportunity to take revenge. With a bad smile on his face, he started to build a voodoo doll, like the book said. Or better, like what he could understand. Blinded by madness, he tortured the doll just as much to keep his ex-girlfriend alive when the curse would hit her. When he was satisfied with the result, he spoke the magic words of the book and sealed the spell with a few drops of his own blood. Complete silence. Then the doll began to shudder. With a horrific scream, she started to grow till she reached the size of a small child. The young man took a few steps back, shocked. He stared at the monster he brought to life. Slowly, she turned her head and faced him directly, with a bloody bandage that had replaced her eyes.
"You,"
she growled.
"You did this to me."
It was just a second in which she grabbed one of the knives on the table, jumped forward against the young man and stabbed him into the throat. With a desperate gargling, he sank down to the ground, still staring at the doll in complete disbelief. She slowly hung her over him and whispered in his ear,
"Your blood made me. It's your own fault."
With that, she punched her hand inside his chest to pull out his heart and disappeared into the woods. that was May's little story. Even though I really love cute stuff, I'm also a big fan of horror, so please don't wonder where this came from. And Halloween is the perfect opportunity to try something extreme, don't you think? I hope you liked May's video, but if not, no worries, the next video will not be horrific. Have a happy Halloween, and thank you again so much for all your amazing support. See you soon. Tschüss!